Exploring symmetries and learning about them is one of the most fun and powerful tools you can have for creating patterns. So the best thing to do to learn about symmetries is to actually use some tiles that will help with that. Doing this hands-on, there's nothing better than that. What's special about the tiles I'm going to be showing you is that there'll be an image on one side. This is a Tangram, and there's a really good reason to use a Tangram for this, the Tangram graphic for this, which I'll go into in a minute. But what you want is a tile that has an image on one side and the mirror image on the back. So I'm going to be going over on how to do that. I've got some tools to help with that. And the reason to use a Tangram is because a Tangram, each quadrant of this, each corner is different. And that allows a whole lot more clarity in seeing how certain patterns are made. So this isn't really about making patterns from Tangrams, but using the Tangram to help us understand symmetry is very cool. So this is like an introduction, but this video is only how to make the tiles. So I've made a bunch of different palettes of tiles to use. These will be on my blog, which will be in the description, and also in the description under the video. I will connect to this black and white one. So you need to print this out on heavy paper. You need glue stick, pencil, bone folder is good, optional, but it's great to have. Some sort of cutting tool. I won't be using scissors. You'll see what I'll be using, but scissors are fine. And I like to have some wax paper around. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is cut out this big square. Okay, we're not going to cut out these individual pieces, these 9 individual pieces just yet. So after you cut this out, we'll be gluing them together. But first things first, here's the 2 pieces. I know that these are the right 2 pieces to use because one is a mirror reflection of the other. Probably the easiest way to tell that is just to look at the writing up here. The writing is on the right side of one and the left side of the other. So you won't mess up. Like if you do a few at once, like look at this, these 2 are not mirror reflections. You can see that the writing is in the same place. You don't want it there. Okay, next, turn them over, and with the orientation staying the same, what you want to do is, where's the pencil go? Here it is. Draw in the orientation. This will come in very handy later. Just want to check that they're both still up. That's right. Okay. So I already cut this one out, so you don't have to see me cutting them out twice. But there are some things to be said about cutting them out, so I'm going to go over that. Okay, I'm going to use this scoring cutting board. I find this is really great to use. It's easy to use. It's accurate. It's nice for me to use in videos because I can cut things kind of quickly. So what I'm going to do here, you can see that these lines don't bleed out to the end. So I want them to bleed out. So I'm just going to sort of make sure that's pushed up nice and tight to the bar. And I'm just going to just sort of do a kind of a random cut, but I just want to make sure that these lines bleed out to the edge of the paper. Okay, there we go. With this cutter, I find that it's always better to start at the top and pull down. It gives a better cut. I'm not really sure why. The top being where the inch marks are. And what I'm doing, excuse me, is I'm lining up this bleed line right to the cutting groove. And that's really helpful. So doing that on both sides, one side and the opposite side. And one thing I don't want you to beat yourself up over is no matter how accurate you try to be, and I hope you try to be as accurate as possible, the things won't be perfect. And that's okay, because we are making these tiles to learn with, not to prove anything with. So slight imperfections are just slight imperfections. Okay, so I've got my square cut. Like I said, I'll do that on both pieces, but I already have this done, so you don't have to see me cut twice. I want to just check my orientation is the same. They're both, you can see, they're both mirror images of each other. And now I want to glue them together. For this, I really just recommend a glue stick. And let's see, I'm going to use this glue stick because it shows up better. And I'm going to get close to the edge, but I don't want to, I'm not worrying about getting right on the edge. What I'm more worried about is working quickly, not because this is a video, but because I don't want my glue to dry. And if there's any little pieces that sort of stick up a little bit and need a little more glue, I could go back and do that later. Now here's the part that's so important and maddening. So make sure the arrows are both still going the same direction. You put one on top of the other. I'd say start at a corner and then just do the best you can to keep it lined up. Don't commit until you feel pretty good about where things are going. Okay, I feel pretty good about that. I'm putting it down. I can see there's a little bit of white over there. I'm not going to worry about it too much. This is where I'm going to use my bone folder and my wax paper. Although, you know, you could just do it with your hand, right on it, it's fine. Okay, so this part is done. Taking a look at it, you can see there's a little bit of white on this side, a little bit here, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'd like to let this dry a bit before I do any cutting, so I have another one ready to go that I'm going to now cut. The next thing is to cut out the 9 squares, and then there's one more step after that. So bear with me while I cut out the 9 squares. And really, this can be done with scissors. It's just fine. There, I cut up from the bottom, but it seemed to work out okay that time. But still, I recommend trying to remember to go from the top down. Like I said, there's one more step after this that's, I feel, is worth mentioning. So, almost there. Okay. So now you've got your tiles. We'll check them and see how they look on the back. That's pretty good, right? Not perfect. See, that's a little bit of a black line there, and there's none here, but so it goes. Now what you want to do is, it's really helpful for, as you're going to move on, to once you get a pile of these, just make sure they're all oriented the same. So I'm seeing the black here, and this is obviously in the mirror image of it. Not obviously, you get used to seeing it. So turn it over. So once you've got your pile, just pile them up so they are oriented the same as each other, and this is going to help when you actually start using them. Let's see, there we go. Okay, now how to use them will be in the next video.